Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen meets the World Bank Vice President to discuss some important issues and projects that the World Bank is assisting with in Cambodia. Prime Minister Hun Sen welcomes the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces in Sihanoukville and says Japan has not only sought peace for Cambodia, but also contributed to the country's development. Former member of the U.S. House of Representatives Tulsi Gabbard says U.S. authorities should take immediate action to secure 25 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine to prevent disaster. Bahrain gets ready to host the first race of the 2022 Formula One World Championship. And a child in Costa Rica encounters an unexpected obstruction while zooming down a zip line. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gauchan. On the evening of Wednesday, March 16th, Prime Minister Hun Sen met with the World Bank Vice President Manuela V. Ferro to discuss some important issues and projects that the World Bank is assisting in Cambodia. EAC News reporter Dekka Nin has more details.
Prime Minister Hun Sen of Cambodia welcomed the presence of World Bank Vice President for Asia and the Pacific, Manuela V. Ferro, on her visit to Cambodia. He informed the World Bank representative that the World Bank can help Cambodia by strengthening its partnership. In a meeting with Manuela V. Ferro at the Office of the Council of Ministers on the afternoon of March 16, 2022, the Prime Minister informed her about Cambodia's COVID-19 vaccination strategy, which not only promotes public health care, but also helps the national economy. The Prime Minister informed her that the World Bank can help the Cambodian economy by promoting partnerships and projects in Cambodia. The Prime Minister's assistant, Insopolite, told reporters. The Prime Minister thanked the World Bank for its good cooperation as well as good partnership. What the World Bank can continue to do is to strengthen the partnership and promote all possible projects to contribute to the Cambodian economy. Manuela V. Ferro expressed her appreciation for Cambodia's anti-COVID-19 campaign. She also expressed the World Bank's commitment to working with the Cambodian government to push Cambodia to become a high middle-income country by 2030.
Prime Minister Hun Sen welcomed the commander of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces 1st Indo-Pacific Mine Action Division, Noguchi Yasushi, and the rest of the crew aboard the 2 JM-SDF ships that docked at the Sihanoukville Autonomous Port on Tuesday to commemorate the 30th anniversary of Japan's peacekeeping operations in Cambodia. During the welcoming meeting, the Prime Minister recalled Japan's first peacekeeping mission in 1991 and said that Japan has not only sought peace for Cambodia, but also contributed to the country's development. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Prime Minister's personal assistant, Eng Sopolet, told reporters after a meeting that the Prime Minister has observed that Japan's role in finding world peace is growing, and the peacekeeping operations conducted in Cambodia so far have not only to help find peace, but also help the development of Cambodia. He added the Prime Minister has expressed that he is very proud of Japan's peacekeeping operations and encourages the country to increase cooperation with Cambodia to further promote peace in the region. During the meeting, Commander Noguchi Yasushi of Japan Marine Self-Defense Forces 1st Indo-Pacific Mine Action Division also thanked Prime Minister Hun Sen for the good cooperation with Japan, which recently demonstrated by the official state visit of the commander of the Royal Government Army, Hun Manet, to Japan. The Japanese commander vowed the Prime Minister Hun Sen that he would do his best to maintain security in the region. After the welcoming meeting concluded, the Prime Minister also had a meal with the arrived Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces crew at the Soccer Hotel in Sihanoukville. The 2 Japanese maritime self-defense ships docked in Sihanoukville Autonomous Port are Yugara 463 and Hidero 305, holding a crew of 180 of both joint commanded by the Commander Noguchi Yasushi. The ships will be docked at Sihanoukville from the 15th to the 17th of March. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The royal government of Cambodia issued an official statement on Tuesday regarding the ongoing Naga World Labor dispute, saying that the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training will continue to mediate and seek a resolution to the dispute, after protest leaders have expressed a soft position regarding negotiations. EAC News reporter Straipor Kong has the story.
While speaking at a working meeting with a special reporter on human rights in Cambodia, Vitat Montabon on Tuesday, 15 March, Deputy Prime Minister Saw Keng said that the number of prison detainees in Cambodia is more than 30,000, of which more than 50% are involved in drug cases. He added that while the ministry is working to build more infrastructure to accommodate this number of prison inmates safely, in the meanwhile, the ministry is considering exempting those with minor offenses from detention while pending court proceedings. During the meeting, the Deputy Prime Minister also mentioned progress made toward the 2022 election. He emphasized that this election is the fifth mandate election in accordance with the Constitution and showed the will of the royal government to implement reform to transfer power and resources from the national level to the subnational level. He further commented on the matter of refugee in Cambodia and stated that, as a signatory to the Cambodian Refugee Permit, Cambodia firmly upholds its obligation to the maintained indigenous people of Vietnam crossing into Cambodia, and strive to address the issue of third country asylum seeker responsibly. He added that for those refugees who wish to return to Vietnam, the ministry has partnered with the UNHCR to facilitate this work. In response, Special Reporter Vitat Montabon thanked Deputy Prime Minister Saw Keng for the constructive and mutually beneficial discussion. The Deputy Prime Minister also expressed his gratitude and stated that he would always be ready to meet with the Special Reporter at any opportunity needed. Sray Pokong, EAC News.
From 14th to 16th March, two important meetings between ASEAN military leaders took place in Phnom Penh: the 12th ASEAN Military Operations Meeting and the 19th ASEAN Military Intelligence Meeting. These are two specialized meetings responsible for preparing documents for the 19th ASEAN Chiefs of Defense Forces meeting, which will begin on Wednesday, 16th March. EAC News reporter Deca Nin has more.
The Director General of the General Department of Research and Intelligence at the Ministry of National Defense, Lieutenant General Hun Manet, chaired the ASEAN Military Intelligence Meeting, while the Joint Secretariat of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Lieutenant General Pan Sukrevichir, chaired the ASEAN Military Operations Meeting in preparation for the 19th ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting beginning on Wednesday, 16th of March. The meetings were held from the 14th to the 15th of March 2022, with the participation of military leaders from all 10 ASEAN member countries. According to Lieutenant General Pan Sukrevichir, this ASEAN Military Operations Meeting shows the will and desire of Cambodia to promote cooperation among ASEAN member states to address and respond to key security issues in the region in order to inspire and encourage all ASEAN member states to address emerging threats, especially during high-risk circumstances such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, Lieutenant General Hun Manet stated that the presence of the military intelligence delegations of the ASEAN member countries at the physical ASEAN Military Intelligence Meeting was a testament to the spirit of good cooperation, solidarity, and friendship between the ASEAN nations. Leaders of ASEAN military intelligence delegations exchanged views on joint security issues in the region and also discussed the promotion and strengthening and expansion of cooperation between member countries and to continue sharing information with one another in a timely manner and jointly address various issues that threaten security in the region. They also agreed to continue to promote and maintain the ASEAN centrality and unity. The 19th ASEAN Chiefs of Defense Forces meeting will be held in Phnom Penh from 16th to the 18th of March under the theme Solidarity for Peace and Harmony. The Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, General Atsarat, has stated that Cambodia hosting the Chiefs of Defense Forces shows the national pride of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces and the history of the nation under the wise leadership of Prime Minister Hun Sen, especially during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, as it shows the international community that Cambodia has the capacity to control the spread of the virus and hold these meetings safely. Nekanin, EAC News.
The ambassador of the new Socialist Republic of Vietnam to Cambodia, Nguyen Huy Thang, paid a courtesy visit to the governor of Phnom Penh, Quang Streng, on Tuesday at the Phnom Penh Capitol Hall. During the meeting, the Vietnamese ambassador expressed his appreciation for the development of Phnom Penh over the past 4 decades, as well as Cambodia's exceptional ability to handle the COVID-19 pandemic and maintain a good national economy over the last 2 years. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has further details.
While speaking with the governor of Phnom Penh, the Vietnamese ambassador remarked that the Phnom Penh has developed significantly in the last 4 decades. He also commended the leadership of the Royal Government of Cambodia for its successful strategy to control the spread of COVID-19 in the country over the past 2 years, which has maintained the national economy and protected the well-being of the people. He continued to say that the organisation of the city of Phnom Penh has improved greatly, along with the relations between Cambodia and Vietnam, and affirmed that he would do his best in his position to ambassador to contribute to further strengthening the relations between Cambodia and Vietnam. He also requested for the representatives of the cities of Phnom Penh and Ho Chi Minh to engage in more official visits for mutual benefit, and especially stressed connecting and training the youth for both countries and maintain a good and strong cooperation with one another. Phnom Penh Governor Kong Sreng stated that Cambodia as well as Phnom Penh have successfully controlled the spread of COVID-19 and fully reopened, which makes it possible to establish adequate relations and strengthen bonds of unity between Cambodia and Vietnam. He added that when both countries have good cooperation and live together with honesty and understanding, both will establish strong solidarity in the long run. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The royal government of Cambodia issued an official statement on Tuesday regarding the ongoing Naga World Labour dispute, saying that the Ministry of Labour and Vocational Training will continue to mediate and seek a resolution to the dispute, after protest leaders have expressed a soft position regarding negotiations. EAC News reporter Straipo Kong has the story.
According to the statement issued by the Royal Government of Cambodia on the evening of Tuesday, 15 March, the Ministry of Labour will continue to engage in resolving the ongoing labour dispute between Naga World Limited and its employees, while seeking for a peaceful resolution. The statement adds that the ministry has seen positive signs after the 8 protest leaders who were released on bail on Monday expressed a soft stance, wanting to negotiate an end to the dispute. The statement reads, on 12 March 2022, each of the former employees sent a letter to the Ministry of Labour and Vocational Training seeking intervention to be released on bail and representative of employees in resolving the labour dispute with Naga World. Through the above-mentioned intervention letters, the ministry sent a letter to the Ministry of Justice, and in return, the Ministry of Justice sent another intervention letter forwarding into the Phnom Penh Municipal Court. Subsequently, the Phnom Penh Municipal Court reviewed the legal process and ruled for the release on bail of the 8 former employees at 1900 hours on 14 March 2022. In 2021, Naga World made the decision to reduce its staff by about 25% due to the severe impact of COVID-19 on tourism, and laid off 1,329 employees. About 42% of Naga World workers are still union members, of which 373 strongly opposed the layoff that demanded that the company reinstate them and other former employees back to their jobs. From 18 to 27 December 2021, the Ministry of Labour and Vocational Training invited the protesting parties 7 times for negotiations, during which the 373 disgruntled workers continued to demand the company reinstate their job and meet their additional demands. Since then, as of 15 March 2022, 153 out of the 373 former employees have agreed to accept salary pay from the company, now leaving 220 former employees who are still continue to fight for their needs to be met. Sripokong, EAC News.
Cambodia has reported 140 new COVID-19 cases, including 15 which are imported. There have been 311 patient recoveries and 1 new death. Cambodia's total Omicron case tally now passes the 14,000 mark. The kingdom recorded 125 new community and 15 new imported cases of the new variant, meaning that Cambodia has now recorded 14,051 cases of Omicron, 1,264 imported, and 12,787 community cases. The kingdom's COVID-19 case tally has now climbed to 134,492. The death toll stands at 3,049. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 130,028, and the tally for imported cases has climbed to 21,121. Healthcare workers are currently treating a total of 1,339 patients. And now for a look at news making international headlines this Wednesday, 16th March.
The extreme weather brought severe damage to several villages in Kerek district, East Java province, when it triggered a muddy flash flood on Friday. Aside from the local who was killed, another 178 livestock, 3 cows, 5 goats, 20 pigs, and 150 chickens were found dead after the water subsided in the farming communities in Bangay Regency. A car was dragged by the flood currents into the river, while 8 houses were severely damaged that submerged communities underwater 4 feet high. Head of the Center for Disaster Data, Information and Communication at the Indonesian National Disaster Management Agency, Abdul Mugari, has said there were 6 villages affected by the massive flash flood. A resident is reported to have died due to this flash flood. We, together with officers in the field, have evacuated the affected residents. Logistics assistance has also been distributed. Muhari has added that heavy rain was to be expected to continue in the coming days, warning residents to stay alert.
The U.S. consulate in Mexican border, a city of Nuevo Laredo, will close temporarily after it was hit by gunfire overnight, and the trailers were set ablaze on the roads downtown after the gangster lead arrest, authorities have said on Monday, 14th of March. Shots against the consulate and the Mexican military premises were reported after gunfighting and the pursuits in part of the city. The Ministry of Public Security in the state of Tamaulipas has said on the statement. Suspected gang members have paralysed traffic in Nuevo Laredo early Monday by blocking roads with spike strips and setting fire trucks, to the statement has said. The US consulate has advised its employees to stay indoors and urged US citizens to do the same or avoid the area. The consulate will be temporarily closed to the public, the Mexican government has said later in a statement. A senior Tamaulipas official has confirmed it was one collateral fatal due to the violence. The gunfight has followed the arrest of Juan Generado Tevera, or El Hervo, on Sunday, March the 13th. Mexico's government has said he is in a statement. Tevera is facing US extradition over drug trafficking and money laundering, as well as state-level charges for the murder, terrorism, extortion, and criminal association, it is added. Trevino is on the list of US Border Patrol's most wanted criminals according to media reports. The Mexican statement has named Trevino as the leader of the cartel of the northeast of the branch of the Zetas gang, as well as the boss hitman group Tropas de Inferno, or Troop from Hell. The arrest represents a forceful blow to the cartel's power in the region, Mexican's government has said. The government has also said in a later statement it was committed to security cooperation with the United States, and the crime organizations involved in the incident will face the weight of the law in both countries.
Part of a hill has collapsed in northern Peru on Tuesday, March 15, burying at least 60 homes, the government has said, with harrowing images on social media showing whole apartment buildings being covered by the landslide. According to local authorities, the landslide has affected between 60 and 80 homes. There was no confirmed death as of Tuesday at noon, but rescue squads were on the scene searching for people. The collapse has happened in an area that is home to mining workers and not safe for the construction of homes. Peru has a high rate of housing informalities, with homes often built on the edges of rivers or on the sides of hills prone to landslides.
The existence of more than 25 US-funded biolabs in Ukraine is an undeniable fact, and the US authorities should take immediate action to secure these facilities to prevent disaster, Tulsi Gabbard, a former member of the US House of Representatives, has claimed on Monday.
Tulsi Gabbard, who stood as a Democratic candidate for the 2020 presidential election, listed 6 points of evidence which she has said proved the existence of such biolabs in Ukraine on her Twitter account on Monday. Firstly, she has said that Victoria Nuland, Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, has acknowledged the existence of such labs containing dangerous pathogens in her testimony to the U.S. Senate on March 8. Secondly, Gabbard has posted that the U.S. Defense Ministry acknowledged in a document released on Friday that the country has invested over $200 million in Ukraine since 2005, supporting 46 Ukrainian laboratories and other relevant health facilities. Third, she has referenced a report by Columbia Broadcasting System correspondent David Martin, who has said that a Pentagon official told him the military are concerned about the existence of such laboratories in Ukraine. The United States might be blamed for its support if Russia were to acquire the pathogens and turn them into biological weapons, the official allegedly revealed. Fourth, Gabbard has noted when refuting Russian accusations in April 2020, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine acknowledged that there are biological labs funded by the U.S. in Ukraine, working with pathogens for vaccine and other peaceful purposes. Six, Gabbard has said the Department of Defense acknowledged that two biolabs upgraded by the Biological Threat Reduction Program in 2014, a DoD scheme, had fallen into Russian hands, with Ukraine continuing to be denied access to these facilities. Gabbard's comments has created an internet storm, with many tweet replies claiming that the U.S. government is looking to cover up the issue. One suggested that the U.S. along with NATO are using the Ukrainian people as cannon fodder, similar to what they did in Syria. Another Twitter user even raised parallels with the 2003 U.S.-led invasion of Iraq, posting a photo of former U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell laying out evidence of Iraqi weapons of mass destruction, which turned out not to exist.
Fox News cameraman Pierre Zakrzewski and Ukrainian journalist Alexandra Sasha Kuvshinova were killed in Ukraine after the vehicle in which they were traveling was struck by incoming fire on Tuesday, 15th March.
And Pierre Shashevsky.
55-year-old Pierre Zakrzewski was reporting with another Fox News journalist, Benjamin Hall, on Monday when they came under attack near the capital Kyiv. Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott has said Hall remains in hospital. Zakrzewski was a veteran war zone photographer who had covered multiple conflicts for Fox News, including in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Based in London, he had been working in Ukraine since February. In a second statement, Scott has said 24-year-old Sasha Kuvshinova had been helping Fox crews navigate Kyiv and the surrounding area while gathering information and speaking with sources. At least 4 journalists have died in nearly 3 weeks of fighting. American filmmaker and journalist Brent Renault was shot dead by Russian forces in the town of Irpin in Ukraine's Kyiv region, a regional police chief said on Sunday. On March 1st, Ukrainian camera operator Yevgeny Sakun was killed when Russian forces shelled a television tower in Kyiv, according to a social media account by former colleagues cited by the Committee to Protect Journalists.
Capital city. Pierre.
India is reviewing its standard operating procedures for weapons systems and will immediately fix any shortcomings after accidentally launching a missile into Pakistan last week, its defense minister has announced on Tuesday, 15th March.
The missile has been released around 7 p.m. last Wednesday, March 9, during routine maintenance and inspection, has landed in Pakistan without causing any casualties. The minister, Rajnath Singh, has told Parliament. Singh has added that the safety procedures and protocols for the country's weapon systems were of the highly priority and any shortcomings must be immediately rectified. A spokesman for Pakistan Foreign Office, which has sought a joint probe into the incident, has said it was reviewing the Indian minister's statement. Pakistan has demanded clarification from New Delhi over its safety mechanism to prevent accidental missile launches and has urged the international community to help maintain regional stability. Although tension between India and Pakistan had come in recent months, military experts have previously warned against the risk of accidents or miscalculations by the nuclear-armed arch rivals who have fought 3 wars.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Bahrain is getting ready to host the first race of the 2022 Formula One World Championship on Sunday, 20th March.
Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen lead F1 into a new era this weekend as the sport seeks to move from one of its most controversial seasons with a fresh start and plenty of change. New look cars, heavier and with bigger wheels, but with drawn aerodynamics to make overtaking easier, have raised hopes of the general shake-up as part of the most far-reaching overhaul in decades. Michael Massey, the race director whose decisions left Hamilton feeling robbed of the record 8th title in Abu Dhabi Showdown last December, has gone, while Mohammed Ben Salim has replaced Jean Todt as head of the governing FIA. While last year's title contenders will be renewing their fierce rivalry, the battle looks set to stretch beyond a private duel. Champion Verstappen, 24, has started the season at Sakhir on Sunday, March the 20th, with the number 1 on his Red Bull for the first time. Hamilton, meanwhile, has hungry new teammate in fellow Briton George Russell, arriving from Williams and eager for a first win. Both drivers already warned the fans not to expect too much. With Mercedes bouncing on the straights, downforce is gained or lost. The team chasing a record extending 9 successive constructions title, and Hamilton can never be written off, however. Red Bull and Verstappen have been pleased with their car's performance while highlighting a growing threat from Ferrari, climbing back into contention after years of underperforming. The Italian team has not won a race since 2019 or the championships since 2008, but ending at least one of those 2 droughts no longer looks a distant dream.
Manchester United's interim manager Ralf Rangnick took aim at Atletico Madrid for time-wasting antics after his team was eliminated from the Champions League by the Spanish champions on Tuesday.
A Renan Lodi header in the 41st minute earned a 1-0 win on the 8th for Atletico and a 2-1 aggregate victory that puts them into the last 8. United had been on top before conceding against the run of play, and they threw themselves forward after the break but came up against a solid Spanish defense. Atletico coach Diego Simeone was full of praise for his team's commitment. This team will dive into a swimming pool whether there is water in it or not, he said. Simeone also said he did not notice United fans hurling objects at him as he rushed off the pitch following the match. The incident will likely feature in the UEFA match delegates reports on the game, and that would trigger a disciplinary investigation and any eventual sanctions against the home team.
And against a team like Atletico, it's highly important that you score the first goal yourself. And if you don't do that, then it's even more important not to concede a goal. And 1 minute before half-time, we conceded that goal in a transitional moment. I believe that there was a foul on Anthony Elanga before that, but the linesman and the referee didn't see it that way. And that's why we were 1-0 down at half-time. I think we shouldn't have been 1-0 down at half-time. We were the better team in the first half. But as I said, it's important to score the first goal yourself against the team, even more so against a team like Atletico. And in the second half, it was I don't know if the game was played for more than 2 minutes without being interrupted, without somebody lying on the floor. And I think there were some curious refereeing decisions. I wouldn't necessarily say that were decisive. Maybe the one before they scored. But I think he made it pretty easy for the referee, for Atletico to do their time-wasting antics, and that didn't make it any easier for us. It was frustrating, difficult for us in the second half. We tried everything. We had 2 or 3 moments after set pieces, but from normal play we didn't produce that many chances.
Dutch prosecutors intend to press attempted murder charges against Spartak Moscow soccer player Quincy Promes, they said on Wednesday 9th March, in order to ensure his case proceeds as quickly as possible.
Promes was arrested in connection with the July 2020 stabbing in the Dutch town of Abercrombie. It later emerged that the alleged victim was Promes' cousin, and the incident took place in a fight after a family party. Promes has denied involvement. Prosecutors had initially intended to charge Promes, a former Ajax Amsterdam player and Dutch international, with attempted manslaughter and aggressive assault. But after the alleged victim's lawyer asked for the heavier charge, Promes' lawyer agreed. In order to ensure the case proceeded as quickly as possible, hearings are planned for March the 31st, the Public Prosecutor's Office said in a statement. Promes 30 was playing for Ajax at the time of the incident but moved to Spartak Moscow in February 2021. He scored a goal in Spartak's 2-0 win over Dynamo Moscow on Sunday the 6th of March.
And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out tomorrow. And finally, on Sunday 13th March, a group of 8 customers ziplined through a rainforest in La Fortuna, Costa Rica. Among the 8 is a child who encountered an unexpected visitor while on his zooming adventure down the zipline.
And you go, no break, look me.
According to the Go Adventure Arenal Park website, a sloth unexpectedly interrupted the ziplining activities of a group of 8. The website states 7 people went down the cable and there was no sloth on it. And within 30 seconds, a sloth got on the cable. The 8th customer to go down the zipline was a child who spotted the animal hanging off the wire and did a great job of using the brakes before crashing into it. Go Adventure state the good thing was that the child was doing a great job by using the brake, and also since the tour guide was with him, they were able to handle the situation. Neither the sloth nor the child were hurt during the incident. They just had to wait around 15 minutes for the sloth to get out of the way. Flavio Leighton Ramos is the owner of the Go Adventure Arenal Park and the tour guide who captured the moment of the surprise obstruction. At the beginning of the video, the tour guide tells the child no brake before the child stops at the side of the sloth on the cable. Customers were told that they may have sightings of monkeys, toucans, hummingbirds, and sloths on this tour, but no one expected one to be hanging off the zipline cable itself.
What did I do about the sloth? Don't worry. Where did she jump?
I don't know.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.